It all started in a small town where everyone knew everyone. In that town, school sports were a big deal. Every Friday, people filled the stands to watch the boys' basketball team play. They were local heroes, posters on walls, cheers echoing through the gym, their names in the school announcements. But somewhere in the crowd sat a girl who watched every game with quiet eyes. Her name was Samantha Reyes. She wasn't there just to cheer. She was there because she wanted to be out on that court too. Since she was a kid, Samantha loved basketball. She used to play with her older brother in the driveway, pretending she was in a championship game. Every bounce of the ball made her feel alive. But as she grew older, she started to notice something. No one ever thought girls could play as well as boys. At school, the girls had their own team, but no one really watched their games. The boys' team got all the attention, all the praise, all the resources. The girls barely got new uniforms. Still, Samantha dreamed of wearing that varsity jersey, the one only boys got to wear. One day during gym class, the teacher announced that basketball tryouts for the boys' team were coming soon. Samantha's heart skipped a beat. After class, she walked up to the coach and asked, "Can I try out too?" The coach looked at her like she had told a joke. "You mean for the boys' team?" he said, half smiling. "Yes," Samantha said. "I just want a chance." After that one-on-one game, something inside Samantha changed. It wasn't just about proving people wrong anymore. It was about proving to herself that she could really do it. For the first time, she felt that spark of confidence that came from effort, not praise. She knew she had a long way to go, but she was ready to work for it. The next morning, before the sun had even risen, Samantha tied her shoes, grabbed her basketball, and walked to the small park near her house. The cold air bit her fingers and her breath turned to mist as she dribbled on the cracked concrete. The park was empty except for a few early joggers and the sound of bouncing rubber echoing in the still air. She practiced her footwork, her layups, her jump shots, over and over. Her hands were freezing, her arms ached, but she didn't stop. Every time she missed a shot, she whispered to herself, "Again." Every time she made one, she whispered, "Better." Her brother Daniel soon joined her. He had played college basketball before an injury ended his career, but he still loved the game. When he saw how serious Samantha was, he decided to help her train. At first, Daniel wasn't easy on her. He made her run drills that seemed impossible. "You want to play with the best? Then train like the best," he'd say. Samantha complained sometimes, but she kept going. She ran laps, worked on her defense, and practiced shooting until her arms felt like lead. Some mornings they practiced for hours before school. Samantha would then rush to class, tired but proud. She didn't tell anyone about her training, not even her friends. She didn't need their approval anymore. One day after school, she went back to the gym to watch the boys' team practice. She sat quietly on the bleachers as the coach shouted instructions and the players ran drills. Tyler, the star player, was as confident as ever. His moves sharp, his energy high. Samantha watched closely, studying how they passed, how they moved, how they communicated without even speaking. When practice ended, most of the boys walked past her without saying a word. But Tyler stopped. "You're still watching?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "Learning," she replied, standing up. He laughed a little. "You're really not giving up, huh?" "Why should I?" she said. He nodded, impressed by her calmness. "You've got guts, Reyes, I'll give you that." Samantha smiled faintly. "You'll see more than that one day." After he left, she stayed behind, dribbling on the side court. The sound echoed in the quiet gym. It was just her and the ball, the way she liked it. As weeks passed, her routine became tougher. Early morning practices, long school days, and more drills after sunset. She missed hanging out with friends, watching movies, or scrolling on her phone. But every time she thought of giving up, she remembered the laughter, the looks, the disbelief. And that kept her going. One Saturday, the school gym held an open court event for charity. Students and alumni came to play casual games and raise money. Samantha signed up immediately. She didn't care who she faced, she just wanted to play. When she arrived, she noticed the same familiar faces, the boys from the team, including Tyler. They were joking around, laughing, tossing the ball to each other. When Tyler saw her, he smirked. "Back again, huh?" Samantha grinned. Wouldn't miss it. The games began, and Samantha was placed on a mixed team of students. At first, her teammates didn't pass her the ball much. They probably thought she'd mess things up. But when she finally got her chance, she didn't waste it. A boy missed a pass and the ball rolled toward her. Without hesitation, she grabbed it, dribbled past one defender, spun and sank a clean jumper. The gym went quiet for half a second, then a few people clapped. From there, she kept playing her heart out. Quick, focused, fearless. By the end of the match, her team had won, and people started noticing. Even the coach, who happened to be watching from the stands, nodded slightly, though he didn't say a word. Later that day, as she was packing her things, Tyler walked up again. "You really like proving me wrong, don't you?" he teased. Samantha smiled. "No," she said. "I just like playing," he chuckled. "You might actually have a shot, Reyes. Keep this up and who knows." Those words stayed with her. They weren't exactly praise, but coming from him, they meant something. For the first time, it felt like someone from the team actually saw her as more than a joke. That night, Samantha lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her muscles hurt. Her legs felt like stone, but she couldn't stop smiling. She thought about how far she'd come, from being laughed at to earning a bit of respect. It wasn't everything, but it was something real. The next morning, she woke up early again. The air was even colder and frost covered the edges of the court. She stood there, breathing deeply, ball in hand. "Let's get better," she whispered to herself. Her brother showed up a few minutes later, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You're crazy," he said, handing her one. "Maybe," she said, grinning, "but I'm getting there." As weeks went by, Samantha started joining weekend games at nearby parks. She met older players, some much taller and stronger than her, but she didn't back down. They were surprised by her determination and quick movements. Some even started giving her advice, showing her tricks and drills to improve. Word started spreading slowly. People began saying, "Oh, that girl can actually play." Some even came to watch her during open gym sessions. The same boys who once made fun of her started asking her to be on their side during pickup games, but not everyone liked it. A few players from the boys' team whispered that she was trying too hard, that she was just doing it for attention. Samantha ignored them. She'd learned by now that people talk, whether you fail or succeed. One afternoon, as she practiced alone, the coach walked in. He stood by the door for a while, watching her silently. She didn't notice him at first. She was too focused on her dribbling, her form, her balance. Finally, he spoke. "You've been working hard," he said. Samantha froze, turning around. "I have," she said softly. He nodded. "You've got skills. I can't promise anything, but keep going." It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either, and that small change in his tone gave her hope. When she told her brother that night, he smiled proudly. "See, they're starting to notice. You're breaking through the noise." Samantha smiled too, but she knew this was only the beginning. Then one day, a local community coach came to watch an open match. He was scouting players for a city tournament. When he saw Samantha play, he was impressed by her focus and energy. After the game, he walked up to her and said, "You've got talent. Ever thought about playing in a real tournament?" Samantha's eyes widened. "Me, really?" "Why not?" he said. "You've got the heart for it. Join our team. We need someone like you." It felt unreal. After months of rejection and struggle, someone finally offered her a real chance. Not because they felt sorry for her, but because she'd earned it. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind replayed every moment, the laughter, the practice, the pain, the sweat. And now it was all leading somewhere. She knew this was her moment to show not just her school, but everyone, what she was capable of. The next morning, she packed her gear, tied her shoelaces, and looked at her reflection in the mirror. "No more waiting for permission," she whispered. "It's time to play." And as she stepped out into the rising sun, with the ball under her arm and hope in her heart, she knew that whatever happened next would change everything. Because this time, she wasn't asking for a chance, she was taking it. When Samantha joined the community team for the tournament, everything suddenly felt real. This wasn't just practice anymore. This was competition. Real games, real players, and a chance to show what she could truly do. The team was made up of players from different schools, some older, some younger, but all serious about basketball. On the first day of practice, Samantha felt nervous. Everyone looked confident, dribbling fast, passing sharp, shooting clean. She stood quietly at first, bouncing her ball slowly, trying to read the room. The coach, a tall man with a calm but firm voice, called everyone to gather around. "Listen," he said. This tournament isn't about who looks good or who gets the most points. It's about teamwork. Play for each other, not against each other. Got it? Everyone nodded. Samantha nodded too, clutching her ball. She wanted to prove herself, but she also wanted to fit in. When they started the drills, she struggled a little. The pace was faster than she was used to, and the other players seemed to have years of experience. She missed passes, stumbled once or twice, and felt her confidence shake. But she didn't quit. She stayed focused, listening to the coach's instructions, watching how others moved and slowly adjusting. After practice, as everyone packed up, one of the players, a tall girl named Lena, came over. "You're new, right?" she asked with a friendly smile. "Yeah," Samantha said. "First time playing in a real tournament." "Well," Lena said, tossing her towel over her shoulder, "you've got good instincts. You'll get there. Just don't overthink everything." Samantha smiled gratefully. It felt good to hear that, even if it was just a few words. The next few weeks were intense. Every evening after school, she rushed to practice. Her body hurt, her legs burned, and her hands were covered in blisters. But every drop of sweat reminded her that she was getting closer to something real. At school, people had started noticing her absence. "Where have you been lately?" her friend asked one day. "Practice," Samantha said simply. "For what?" "For a city tournament," her friend blinked. "Wait, seriously? That's huge." Samantha nodded, smiling quietly. "Yeah, I guess it is. But not everyone was supportive. A few boys from the basketball team overheard her in the hallway and laughed. "Oh, so now you're playing in the big leagues," one said. "Don't forget us when you're famous," another added. "Hope they don't expect you to dunk or anything." Samantha ignored them. She'd learned by now that arguing wasn't worth it. The court was the only place she needed to speak. When tournament day finally arrived, Samantha could hardly believe it. The gym was bigger than anything she'd ever played in. Bright lights, banners, and rows of people in the stands. The air buzzed with excitement. Her team's first match was against a tough opponent, a team that had won the tournament the year before. Everyone knew they were good. As the players warmed up, Samantha could feel her hands shaking slightly. She tried to hide it. Lena noticed and nudged her shoulder. "Nervous?" "A little," Samantha admitted. "Good," Lena said. "That means you care." When the whistle blew, the game began fast and rough. The opposing team's players were skilled and confident. For the first few minutes, Samantha barely got the ball. Every time she tried to position herself, someone blocked her. The coach shouted instructions, but it was chaos. Then, during the second quarter, one of her teammates passed her the ball. Samantha dribbled hard, dodged one defender, and took a shot. It hit the rim and bounced out. She winced, but she didn't stop. The next chance she got, she went for a quick layup, and this time the ball went in. The crowd clapped. Her teammates cheered. And just like that, the fear began to fade. By the end of the game, they lost by a small margin, but Samantha had played well. She'd scored a few points, made solid passes, and gained the coach's attention. After the game, he patted her shoulder. "Good work out there," he said. "You've got fire. Keep it burning." That night, when she got home, Samantha could barely walk from exhaustion. But she smiled as she looked at the small medal every player received for participation. It wasn't a trophy, but it meant something. In the following weeks, the community team continued playing in different matches. Samantha's confidence grew with every game. She learned how to handle pressure, how to work with teammates, and how to trust herself. People began recognizing her face. "That's the girl who plays for the city team," they'd whisper. But back at school, the boys' coach still hadn't changed his mind about letting her try out. Every time she passed by the gym and saw the team practicing, she felt a pinch of longing. She wanted to play there, on that court with that jersey representing her school. One day, Samantha decided she couldn't just wait anymore. She went to the principal's office with a letter. In it, she requested permission to try out for the boys' basketball team, explaining that there was no rule in the school district that said she couldn't. The principal looked surprised. "You're serious about this, aren't you?" he asked. "Yes," Samantha said firmly. "I'm not asking for special treatment. Just one fair chance." The principal hesitated. "I'll have to discuss it with the coach and the board. But I admire your courage." Days passed. Rumors spread through the school. Some students supported her. Others mocked her. "She's just doing it for attention," someone said in the cafeteria. "She's not even that good," said another. But Samantha didn't let their words break her. She had faced worse. Finally, one afternoon, the principal called her into his office. The coach was there too. His arms were crossed, his face unreadable. "We've discussed your request," the principal said, "and while there's no official rule against it, we believe the structure of the team should remain as it is." In other words, no. Samantha nodded slowly, hiding her disappointment. "Thank you for considering it," she said politely, then walked out. She went straight to the gym afterward. It was empty, the lights dim, the sound of her footsteps echoing. She picked up a ball and started shooting, again and again. Every miss felt like a punch, but she refused to stop. Tears filled her eyes, but she kept playing until her arms gave out. Her brother found her there later, sitting on the floor, the ball beside her. "Hey," he said gently, sitting next to her. "What happened?" "They said no," she whispered. "They still don't believe I can do it," Daniel sighed. "Then make them see." "Not through words, through what you do next." Samantha looked up. "But how?" He smiled. "The city tournament isn't over yet, right? Then play your heart out there. Make it impossible for them to ignore you." Those words lit something inside her again. She wiped her tears, took a deep breath, and nodded. The next weekend, Samantha's team faced another strong opponent. The game was close from start to finish. Every second mattered. The crowd shouted. The coach yelled instructions, and Samantha gave everything she had. With only 10 seconds left, her team was down by 1 point. The ball came to Samantha. She could hear the crowd chanting, her heart pounding in her ears. She drove toward the basket, dodged one defender, then another, and went for a clean jump shot. The ball flew through the air and swished perfectly through the net. The buzzer sounded. Her team had won. For a moment, Samantha just stood there, breathless, staring at the hoop. Then her teammates surrounded her, cheering, hugging, lifting her off the ground. The crowd applauded. Even players from the other team clapped in respect. That night, videos of the final play started spreading online. Students from her school shared it, captioning it with things like, "She really did it," and "That's our girl." By Monday morning, the whole school was talking about it. When Samantha walked into the hallway, people smiled, clapped, even high-fived her. And when she passed by the gym, the coach looked up from his clipboard and gave her a long look, one that said everything words didn't have to. The struggle wasn't over yet. But for the first time, Samantha felt like she was finally being seen. And deep inside, she knew this was only the beginning of something much bigger. The morning of the big game arrived with a strange mix of nerves and excitement. Samantha could barely eat breakfast. Her stomach felt like it was full of butterflies. She sat quietly at the kitchen table, tapping her fingers on the edge, staring at her basketball shoes on the floor. Her brother watched her and smiled. "You ready for this?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "I think so." He laughed softly. "You don't think so?" "You know so. You've worked too hard to doubt yourself now." She looked up at him, then smiled. "You're right. I've waited for this day for too long. This wasn't just another match. It was the semifinal of the city tournament, and fate had set it up perfectly. Her community team was going to face her school's official boys team, the same team that never gave her a chance, the same coach who once said it was not realistic, and the same players who used to laugh when she said she could play. When Samantha reached the gym that morning, the air was already buzzing with noise. The bleachers were packed with students, teachers, and families. Even people who didn't usually care about basketball had come to watch. Everyone wanted to see the match that had everyone talking, the girl who took on the team that rejected her. As she walked in with her team, people started whispering. Some smiled at her, some looked curious, and a few still had that doubtful expression, the one she knew all too well. But she didn't care anymore. She just tightened her ponytail, tied her shoes, and started warming up. When she glanced across the court, she saw Tyler and the rest of her school's team practicing. Tyler noticed her too. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then he gave a small nod, half smile on his face. She nodded back. There was no anger now, only respect. The referee blew the whistle. It was time. The first few minutes of the game were intense. Both teams were good, both determined to win. The sound of sneakers squeaking on the wooden floor mixed with the crowd's cheers. Samantha's heart raced, but her focus stayed sharp. Every pass, every movement, every second mattered. The boys' team started strong, scoring the first few points easily. They played with speed and power. But Samantha's team didn't back down. She called for the ball, dribbled past one defender, spun around, and took a clean shot. Swish. The ball went straight through the net. The crowd erupted in cheers. It was just one basket, but it sent a message. She wasn't intimidated. The game moved fast. Tyler guarded her closely, making sure she didn't get easy shots. Every time she touched the ball, the crowd grew louder. Every time she made a move, someone shouted her name. Her brother was sitting in the stands, cheering louder than anyone else. "That's it, Sam. Play your game," he yelled. By halftime, the score was tied. The energy in the gym felt electric. When she walked to the bench, her teammates clapped her on the back. The coach smiled. "You're doing great. Stay calm." "They're getting frustrated. Keep using your speed." Samantha nodded, wiping sweat from her forehead. She looked at the scoreboard, then at the other team. The same team that once thought she didn't belong on a court like this. As the third quarter began, things got tougher. The other team played rougher, more aggressive. They blocked her passes, pressured her hard, and tried to wear her out. But Samantha stayed focused. She had trained for moments like this. Every time they tried to push her back, she found a way to move forward. At one point, Tyler stole the ball and ran toward the hoop. The crowd cheered, thinking he'd score easily. But out of nowhere, Samantha sprinted back and blocked his shot cleanly. The sound of her hand slapping the ball echoed through the gym. The crowd gasped, then exploded in applause. Even the announcer sounded amazed. Tyler looked at her, breathing hard, and smiled slightly. "Nice block," he said. "Thanks," she replied, catching her breath. "You didn't make it easy." By the end of the third quarter, Samantha's team was behind by just 3 points. The coach gathered them in a huddle. "Listen," he said. "This is it. You've got 5 minutes to show them who you are. Win or lose, play with everything you've got." Samantha looked at her teammates, her chest rising and falling quickly. "We've come too far to give up now," she said. "Let's make this count." When the fourth quarter started, the crowd was on its feet. Everyone knew it was going to be close. Every time Samantha touched the ball, the noise grew louder. Her heart pounded, but her mind was clear. With 2 minutes left, the score was tied again. Samantha's legs felt heavy. Her arms ached, but she refused to slow down. Tyler's team scored, then her team answered. Back and forth, basket after basket. The tension was so thick it felt like the whole gym had stopped breathing. Then came the final seconds. The score was 68-67. Her team was down by 1. There were only 10 seconds left on the clock. The coach called a timeout. Everyone gathered around him, panting. "Okay," he said, "this is the last play. We need one good shot. Samantha, you take it." She looked at him, surprised. "Me?" He nodded. "You've earned it. Trust yourself." The whistle blew again. They stepped back onto the court. The crowd was roaring now, people standing on their feet, phones ready to record. The ball was passed in. Samantha caught it near midcourt. Tyler rushed to guard her, hands up, eyes locked on hers. She dribbled left, then right, searching for space. The clock ticked down. 5 seconds, 4, 3. She faked one way, spun the other, slipped past him, and jumped just inside the 3-point line. Time seemed to slow. The ball left her hands, flying high through the air. Everyone in the gym held their breath. Swish. The buzzer sounded right after. For a moment, silence. Then the gym exploded with cheers, screams, clapping, and laughter. Her teammates ran toward her, shouting her name, lifting her up off the ground. Samantha couldn't believe it. The sound was deafening, but she barely heard it. All she could think about was that single shot, the one that changed everything. When she turned, she saw her old coach from the school team standing near the bench, clapping slowly. Tyler walked over, smiling despite the loss. "That was incredible," he said, shaking her hand. "You've come a long way." Samantha smiled back, still catching her breath. "Guess I finally proved I can play." He nodded. "You didn't just prove it. You owned it." That night, the highlight of her final shot spread everywhere. Students posted it online. Local sports pages shared it, and comments poured in. "She's unbelievable. She deserves a spot. This is what hard work looks like." The next day at school felt like a dream. People stopped her in the hallway to congratulate her. Even teachers smiled and said how proud they were. The same students who once teased her now wanted selfies. But the biggest surprise came later that afternoon. The principal called her to the gym. When she walked in, the boys' coach was waiting there with a small smile. "I saw the game," he said. "You were impressive." Samantha stood quietly, unsure what to say. He continued, I made a mistake before. I judged you before I even gave you a chance. But I can fix that now. He reached behind him and pulled out a folded jersey, her school's official team jersey. If you still want it, he said, handing it to her. The team would be lucky to have you. For a moment, she just stared at it, her eyes filled with tears. She took the jersey carefully, running her fingers over the fabric. I'd be honored, she said softly. The coach nodded, then welcome to the team. As she walked out of the gym, holding the jersey against her chest, she felt like her heart was glowing. She sat on the bleachers for a long time afterward, just looking at the empty court. This was the same floor where everyone once told her she didn't belong, and now it was where she'd earned her place. When her brother came to pick her up, she didn't say much. She just held up the jersey with a shy smile. He grinned wide. You did it. You really did it. She looked at the court one last time before leaving and whispered to herself, this is only the beginning. The next morning, when she stepped onto the court for her first official team practice, everyone turned to look at her. The coach blew the whistle. All right, everyone, he said. Meet your new teammate. Samantha bounced the ball once, smiled, and said, let's play. And as the ball hit the floor and echoed through the gym, she knew this was where she was meant to be all along. The next few weeks after Samantha joined the team felt like a dream, but not an easy one. She had worked her whole life for this chance, and now that she had it, she realized how much harder she had to push. Practices were longer, faster, more demanding. Every day she had to prove that she deserved that jersey, not just to others, but to herself. At first, it wasn't smooth. Some teammates welcomed her warmly, but others weren't sure what to think. A few of the boys still felt strange having a girl on the team. They didn't say anything rude, but she could feel their hesitation in the way they passed the ball a second too late or avoided eye contact during drills. But Samantha didn't let it get to her. She stayed focused, arriving early, leaving late, running extra laps, and practicing free throws long after everyone else had gone home. The gym became her second home. Sometimes late at night, when the gym was quiet and empty, she'd sit on the bench and stare at the court. She'd think about that first day and time when everyone laughed at her when the coach said, it's not realistic. Now she was here. It still didn't feel real. One evening, as she was about to leave, Tyler walked in. He had become one of her closest teammates since that big game. He tossed his bag down and smiled. You're still here? Don't you ever rest? Samantha laughed. Not yet. I still miss too many shots. He shook his head. You don't miss much anymore. The coach keeps saying you've got one of the best work ethics he's ever seen. She smiled at that, but inside she knew she wasn't done. She wanted to do more, not just for herself, but for every person who had ever been told they couldn't do something because they didn't fit the picture. Soon, the season's biggest game approached, the championship. The school hadn't won in years. The excitement around campus was huge. Banners went up, students made signs, and the local paper wrote about how the team had a new spark this year. Everyone knew who that spark was. The night before the final, Samantha couldn't sleep. She sat by her window, watching the streetlights flicker outside. Her hands itched to hold a basketball. Her heart was full of thoughts, not of winning or losing, but of how far she had come. She remembered all the nights she cried quietly after being laughed at. The times she practiced alone when nobody cared. The bruises, the exhaustion, the whispers behind her back. And now somehow she was about to play in the biggest game of her life, wearing the same jersey she once only dreamed of. The next afternoon, the gym was packed. The air was thick with noise, cheers, chants, music. Her parents sat near the front, her brother next to them, smiling proudly. Even the janitor who used to watch her practice alone had come, waving a small homemade sign that said, "Go, Sam." The team huddled before the game. The coach spoke firmly but kindly. You've worked for this moment. You've all grown as players and as people. No matter what happens today, remember that. He looked straight at Samantha and added, You especially remind me why we play, with heart. She felt a lump in her throat and just nodded. The whistle blew and the championship began. The other team was strong, fast, tall, and well-trained. The first half was rough. Samantha missed her first 2 shots. She could hear a few whispers from the crowd, the kind that made old memories sting. But then she took a deep breath and remembered her brother's words. They won't believe until they see. From that moment, something shifted inside her. She started playing the way she always did when no one was watching, free, fast, fearless. Her passes were sharp, her shots clean. She read the court like a map, predicting moves before they happened. The crowd started to cheer louder every time she touched the ball. By halftime, her team was catching up. Her brother shouted from the stands, "That's the way, Sam. Keep it up." During the break, the coach smiled and said, "You've got this. You're leading out there." Samantha just nodded, breathing deeply, sweat dripping down her face. She looked at her teammates and said, "Let's finish what we started." The third quarter was pure fire. The game turned into a back-and-forth battle. Every possession, every second, every sound of the ball bouncing, echoing like a drumbeat in everyone's chest. Then came the final quarter. Her team was down by 2 points. The crowd was on its feet, shouting louder than ever. The tension was so thick it almost hurt to breathe. Samantha got the ball near the corner. A defender closed in, but she spun, slipped past him, and passed it to Tyler, who scored a quick layup. Tie game. The gym roared. The other team called a timeout. Samantha walked back to the bench, exhausted but alive. The coach looked at them all and said, "You've done everything I asked. Now play these last seconds with your hearts. No fear." When the game resumed, the clock showed 30 seconds left. The other team had the ball first, but Samantha stole a pass midair and sprinted down the court. The crowd went wild. Tyler ran beside her, shouting, "Take it!" She didn't hesitate. She jumped, shot, and watched the ball fly, and it went in. The crowd screamed. The score was 72-70, but the game wasn't over. The other team had 10 seconds left. They rushed down the court, desperate to tie. Samantha followed closely, blocking the last pass with a clean, firm touch. The buzzer rang. They had won. Her teammates ran toward her, shouting, hugging, crying. Tyler lifted her off the ground, laughing. "You did it again!" he yelled. Samantha's eyes filled with tears. She looked around at the crowd standing, clapping, chanting her name. Her family hugging each other with joy. The coach wiping his eyes. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just a game. It was everything she had ever fought for. After the celebration, the local reporters came rushing in. Cameras flashed, microphones appeared. Someone asked her, "How does it feel to be the first girl to win a championship on this team?" Samantha smiled gently and said, "It feels amazing. But I didn't win this alone. This was all of us, and every person who believed, every person who doubted, every person who pushed me to be better." Another reporter asked, "What would you say to girls watching you right now?" She paused, looking straight at the camera, and said softly, "Don't wait for permission to do what you love. Don't stop because people don't believe in you. Believe in yourself first, that's where it starts." Her words spread everywhere that night. The clip of her final shot and her short speech went viral. People around town and even from other cities shared her story online. Headlines appeared like, "The girl who changed the game. She was told she couldn't play. Now she's a champion." But fame wasn't what she cared about. What mattered most was seeing young girls at the next practice standing by the court, holding basketballs, smiling at her shyly. One of them ran up and said, "Can I play like you one day?" Samantha bent down, smiled, and said, "You already can." From that day, things changed in her school. More girls started joining sports. The gym was no longer divided between boys' games and girls' games. It became just one place, a place where anyone who loved the sport was welcome. Years later, when Samantha graduated, she looked back at everything, the laughter, the pain, the long nights, the victories, the lessons. She realized that every no she heard had only pushed her closer to her yes. Before leaving for college, she visited her old driveway court one last time. The same cracked concrete, the same faded hoop where it all began. She picked up her old basketball, spun it in her hands, and smiled. Her brother came outside, leaning on the doorframe. "You never stop, do you?" he said, laughing. She looked at him and smiled. "How can I stop? This game gave me everything." She dribbled the ball a few times, took a deep breath, and made a perfect shot. The ball swished through the net with that familiar, beautiful sound. As the sun set behind her, she whispered quietly, "No one believed I could play, until I did." And that was how Samantha's story became more than just a victory. It became a message. A reminder that sometimes You don't need the world to believe in you. You just need to start. Even if you're the only one who does, because once you do, the world eventually catches up.